Experts are facing off. We have Justin Bell, legendary journalist and race car driver, here to make us look bad. This is Bid Nerds. The bidding starts now. Bid Nerds is your YouTube car game show. Yes, it is. Welcome, everybody. We are live doing the Bid Nerd Show here from the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas. Of course, my name is John Polnick, as well as my partner, Michael Deeb, way over on the other side of the screen. He's in San Francisco. And Michael Deeb, who's that between us? Holy cow.
Oh, my God. Do not attempt to adjust your sit. We have a real celebrity in the house with us. Live out of Los Angeles is Justin Bell. Just for clarification, everybody, Justin and his father are two of England's most proud sons. His father, I think, 7-time Le Mans winner, and Justin, not too shabby himself, class winner in GT2 on multiple occasions. Two of the greatest racing legend father and duo that we've seen in the last century, but now a resident of America and California, and we're proud to call him our own. Justin Bell, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me, guys. I'm actually quite excited. I watched you two earlier on one of your other episodes and thought, these guys are my kind of weird. So this is good. Yeah, thanks for bringing up Dad. I mean, I did a talk the other day to a group of McLaren people or something, and I like to stand up there and say, between us, I was with my dad, between us, we've got 6 Le Mans wins. I only have one. But it's, it's like I do the same when I'm with, like, Elio Castroneves. I go, between us, we have 4 Indy 500 wins.
That's right.
I have none.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
So that's why you choose your company wisely, and you can promote yourself. But yeah, thanks for having me. Very, very, very excited. Don't know what we're doing, but I'm excited.
Well, we'll get to that right away here. All right, if you guys are new to the show, if you're here to see Justin, and you're like, what is Bid Nerds? What we do here is we find the most interesting cars from all the automotive enthusiast auction sites, like Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, P-Car Market, Somo, and so many more. We find the most interesting cars, and we analyze the listing. So it's not just the cars. We're looking at the entire listing as a whole, and then the fun part is that we make a prediction. What will happen as a result of that listing, we will tell you, and we always start every episode by going back to the last episode and reconciling our bids from the last episode. That's right, we hold ourselves accountable. What the heck kind of show is this? That's just weird for the internet. So let's get to it, and let's see how Justin's bids stack up against ours. What was the first car on the list from the last episode? Michael Deeb.
All right out of the gate, we're going to test Justin's Italian and see if he can enunciate Vetroresina better than I can as an educated man from the UK. Feast your eyes on this 1976 Ferrari 308 GTB Vetroresina, which is the Italian term for glass fiber, or in America, fiberglass. And this was a beautiful car. As we've seen, a litany of really special cars come to auction in the lead up to Car Week. This was one that I couldn't resist. I'm a huge fan. Right before my father passed away, he bought a car like this, and it was really, really special. The sweetest memories before Dad passed away. And a lot of them centered around this trip to drive this car back to California and call it our own. So when Ferrari dropped the 308 GTB, the earliest 700 or so versions of these cars were actually constructed in-house in fiberglass, glass fiber, to keep the weight down. And boy, did they do that ever. These cars, as Series 1, let's call them European cars, basically had about 255 horsepower and weighed only 2,300 pounds before me and JP got in the car. So really, really special car. Even though these cars don't really handle, that recipe of 250 brake horsepower and such a low curb weight meant that these cars were very exciting to drive on the highway. I think Ferrari could see the writing was on the wall that production was going to ramp up quicker than they could wait for the glass fiber to dry. And I also thought they started to realize that if they were going to build this car long term, that those fiberglass bodies were not going to hold up over time. So they immediately started making these cars. After about 700 or 800 of these, they started building them out of steel, and then they started federalizing them to come to the United States. This, by all accounts, is a U.S. car, so it's a slightly detuned version of that motor. But it is made out of glass fiber, and it's a beautiful example, and we find it here on Sotheby's Motorsport auction page. Really beautiful car, really special car, low miles, excellent condition, and it's not red. And we've seen this run on rare shades. Well, any Ferrari from the 70s that wasn't red is considered rare today. Our friends over at classic.com tell us that the average selling price of a fiberglass, a Vetroresina version of the Ferrari 308 GTB from either 76 or 77 typically bring about $163,000 in the secondary market. I really like this car, and I really like the platform that it's on. I think that they would have found a millionaire or a billionaire to part with about $230,000. Thus, that was my guess at Hammer for this car, $230,000. JP, you took the under. Your bet on this car, $193,080. You get it, 19,308. And then we had Bailey Smith, the general manager of Club Wheelhouse, and my good friend and colleague. Bailey joined us as third nerd. His guess on this car below all of us at just $160,000. So, Justin, I'm assuming that as a race car driver, lots of people hand you the keys to their car, and you've got to taste more cars than me and JP combined. And we know that that's saying something. Have you ever driven a fiberglass GTB? What did you think of it? And would you slap a number on this beautiful example here?
Yeah, good, great intro. What a pretty car. And I have driven one, actually. And yes, what's weird about mid-70s sports cars from wherever they come from, compared to today, they just handle so badly. I mean, they really do. But and they're hot, but that gearbox and everything. This one looks really clean, and with the fact that rich people seem to lose their heads when it comes to clean little Ferraris, I'm actually gonna. I'm not going much above you, but I'm gonna go at 240. You were 230, right? I'm gonna go at 240. I'm gonna go at 245.
Yeah, and I think that number would hold up later this week or next week in auction should this car have run across the block in front of a bunch of boomer white males with too much Chardonnay and too much money and too many friends in attendance. But on here, it did not fare as well as you and I had hoped it would. Our car hammered for only $173,500, where it did fail to sell. So that number really splits the difference between JP's 193 and Bailey's 160. I'm not going to endorse that number as he should have taken that. That's all the money for this car. This car only has 15,000 miles. It's got good provenance, and it's a really pretty car. I do think this car, to the right audience, would fetch $200,000, but that car is done for the year. They're not going to rush that car to Monterey. That car, at the earliest it could reappear, would be at Barrett-Jackson, like at RM Sotheby's during Barrett-Jackson's auction, Scottsdale. Or you might see this car come across the block on a second, for a second try in what do you call it, JP, in Jacksonville? My brain is losing me.
Or whatever, yeah.
But yeah, the one out in North Jacksonville. Anyways, it should go up there. Amelia Island. This car could bow in March at Amelia Island. That's the one I was thinking of. 56 bids, JP. This car did get a lot of action. And while 173 sounds like a lot of money, I think the car that we're looking at there is worth $2 bills. I'm not mad at this guy for holding out for more dough. I think it's out there, but he's not going to get it this year. This car needs to go away quietly and then come back in a real live auction where you're bidding against your peers in the room, and I think that's where you'll get all the money for it. JP, what do you unpack from that result on the lead up to Car Week?
Well, we do this show out of the studio in downtown Las Vegas. We're right on Fremont Street here in the Container Park. And one thing that you see in the downtown area that you don't see as much on the Strip, because this is the less expensive part of the Vegas Strip, is you see a lot of times you see if it's a Saturday night, there's always a crowd of people that are just wandering around with this kind of dazed look on their face. And it's obvious that they've been here since Thursday and lost all their money, right? So they don't have anything left, and they're just like, can I get a $1.99 steak somewhere or whatever? They're busted, right? Nobody wants to go to Somo, the Sotheby's auction, or go to Monterey and not have any money in their pocket. The people that were interested in this car on this platform are going, yeah, that's neat, but I'd rather see what I'd rather take my chances while I've got a drink in my hand in beautiful Monterey. So I think that's why this car was just destined to die on this platform, unless the seller was willing to let it go was a little bit more aggressive on letting it go. So I agree with you. This car is dead till next season. What do you think of that result, Justin?
I was just thinking, because 10 years ago you could pick this thing up for 40 grand. So the guy selling it, if he had been the 40 grander, he might have been, 7 years ago it was a $70,000 car, Kevin just wrote. If you're the one that owned it at 40, bought it at 40, 170 sounds pretty good. But if you're the guy that picked it up at 165, thinking you're going to get 50 out of it, you're sorely upset. But you know what? They are lovely cars, and someone, he should enjoy it for the next year. Just drive it, man, and have a good time and try again.
Worst cars to be stuck with. All right, what do you guys think of the result of that Ferrari on Somo? Was it the platform? Was it the timing? Or is this just what these are worth now? Let us know in the comments, and let's get to the next car. What else did we make a prediction on the last episode, Michael Deeb?
All right, JP, we are going to circle back to our 1999 Porsche 996 Carrera 2 Coupe that has a 6-speed manual and a factory aero kit package. This car presented very well, I think, on the pages of P-Car Market. In the opening paragraph, they talk about extensive servicing in 2021 that included, of course, the IMS bearing. And then they went in while they were in there and they did everything that you would hope to. The timing chain tensioner, the rear main seal, a new clutch, a new flywheel, new pressure plates, new release bearings, and new tires, just to say the least. They've also done some, at a previous time, the car got, coilovers and stage 1 muffler system from somebody. And the car just looks beautiful. I really like the way this car looked. Add to that, JP, as a factory aero kit car, rear-wheel drive. It's got a limited slip differential. M220 is on this car, and only 19,000 miles on the odometer. JP, even though you tease about this car, and I know once you get to 50 grand, you have a lot more choices than a car that we would normally see selling for like $33,000. But I just thought that this one hit a little different, and I was all in on it. Our friends at Classic.com tell us that an early 996 with a manual transmission, just a rear-wheel drive coupe, is only, on average, a $28,000 conversation. I was all in on this car. I said $53,000 for my bid. After JP picked himself up off the floor laughing, he gave us a bid of just $39,996. And then our good friend Bailey Smith, general manager of Club Wheelhouse, the house of this studio here, Bailey split the difference between us. His bid, only $45,000. So, Justin, I don't need to tell you, it's exhaustive how soft 996s are. Non-Metzger 996s in the secondary market aren't worth much more than the gas that's in the tank. However, this one with a factory aero kit, all the servicing that's done, the low miles, it seems to be optioned well and in fairly decent condition. Would you plump more than 28 grand for the car you see here?
It's funny, isn't it? It looks so good still. If you saw that next to you at the traffic lights, you'd go, that is a pretty car. Look at the wheels on it. I mean, it looks like a California car, right? It's clean. It's the right color. I wish Def Sushi was in here right now, because she would probably get this one right. But I do know the values are surprisingly low. I'm going to say 38,000.
38,000. So you're right there by JP. And again, those are good bids. But it turns out I know a little more about this than you guys might like to admit. So our car hammered for only $42,250, which puts JP right in the spot. Also, Bailey is right there. But then they took an offer, and that car sold for 50 grand post hammer. So I think JP and I can split that one if he's feeling generous. Otherwise, he gets the win because we only talk about the hammer. The car did sell for 50 grand, JP. Are you just going to take the win and just kind of wink and give me credit? Where are you at on this one?
Yeah, no, I think your inclination is right. A lot of people think of these cars as great driver cars, but I think a lot of the people that say that haven't driven one or haven't driven one in a while. The 996.2 is just superior in every way, and it's just not that much more money. I would way rather have a properly serviced 996.2 with, call it, twice as many miles, 40,000 miles. This one has, what, 20,000 miles or something? I'd rather have the higher mileage car with the updated maintenance and pay the same or a little bit more. And for $50,000, that is absolutely an option. Heck, you can get yourself into a Mark 1 997. And if you're getting a Mark 1 997 non-S, just a base, then you're talking about basically the same power, a 3.6 liter. The 3.4 in the .1 996 just isn't enough power. Maybe you thought it was when you drove one in 1998 or 1999, but go drive it again. You're going to be sorely disappointed. It's just not there. Justin, what do you think of these? What do you think of that result?
Well, I think the guy should be happy.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I think the guy selling it should be like, well, they haven't obviously watched your show. So yeah, I think that was good. They haven't heard you two assassinate their judgment, but I liked it. I like it.
On the last episode, Justin, I had to pull my partner away. He had his finger on the keyboard. He was going to bid. He wanted this car. I had to stop him. I had to save him from himself. Yeah, I'm telling you, you own this car, and it is just, you're that guy at the car show or the event or the drive that's like trying to tell you how great it is. And it's like, everyone's going to be trying to convince, bro. You own it. Just live with it, okay? Sorry. Yeah. We got to move on from this 996. I'll give you the last word, Justin. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, he will own it for a while.
He will at that number unless he wants to take a bath. Very good point. All right, let's move on to the next car. What do we got, Deeb?
In parlance, Justin says he's got a firm grip on it. All right, JP, we are going to retrace our steps on a 1993 Mazda RX-7 R1 with a 5-speed manual transmission. Our car, a domestic, what do they call this? An FD, JP? Is that right?
Yeah, that is an FD, yeah.
Yep. And it's only got 6,000 miles. So, Justin, out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and on Bring a Trailer, this car is just, as we celebrate young timers and radwood cars, as we call them in America, this is like the holy grail for those cars. It's a true R1. It's a true American car. It's got ridiculously low miles, and it looks to be in beautiful shape. I really believe this car should ring 6 figures. Again, I was all in on almost all the cars that we picked for last show. This one, more than all the rest. I wanted it to be a $100,000 car, even though our friends at Classic.com tell us that the average selling price for an FD, not denoting it as an R1, but just all FDs from 93 and 94, is typically only $42,000. I thought this car would do more than twice as good. My bid, $93,007. Again, the odometer and the R1 package driving the value here, in my opinion. JP, ever more pragmatic than I ever will be. His bid, just $79,000. And then Bailey Smith, general manager of the Wheelhouse, joined us as third nerd on the last episode. He owns an FD, although his is all beat to snot. It's like a track car. But he also wanted to believe that these cars are worth more than they are. His bid, talk about drinking the Kool-Aid, $110,000. So, Justin, have you driven this generation of RX-7? Do you remember the last time you were in one? Did it impress you? And what would you put on an R1 with under 10,000 miles?
Well, I actually used to race in some club racing in Florida with a buddy of mine on off weekends in his RX-7. And I think there were more Mazda RX-7s raced on a weekend than any other car in the world. Basically, that for about 10 years.
Wow.
I mean, they were so fun. You'd racing at Homestead and places like that. 20 cars going into it looked like motocross, all trying to get in the first corner. It was. I really enjoyed it. Now, this is well out of my wheelhouse. This is. I mean, you think I've been wrong so far? No, I'm going to wildly be wrong. But, I've got some great friends here in LA who are really into this culture. And look at this thing. I mean, this has been looked after. It's been rubbed up against. I'm surprised there's not videos on YouPorn with a guy at the back. This kind of car has a following. But I'm not going to go as high as the other guy. I'm going to say 97,000. I think it just fell short of your six figures. That's my guess.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I thought this car would go. And I kind of feel like the owner of the car was hoping it would go there too, because turns out JP was right about the hammer. Our car hammered for just $75,500, where it failed to sell on 17 bids. So JP, this is one of those things where even though they took studio shots, the hero shot that led this charge is a shot they took out in front of an industrial park in a big roundabout where you could turn around an 18-wheeler. And I don't think those photos do as much justice to the quality of the car or the caliber of the car here, those photos that we're looking at now, versus the studio shot. So I think they should have insisted that a studio shot be the lead photo for the car. And then the video asset that went with it was just deplorable. So I just don't think they did enough to present a potentially six-figure car. And thus the hammer followed their attitude about it. And you turned out to be right. So now tell me I'm wrong and that you don't think this is a $100,000 car and that they should have taken the 75.5. And I'll still tell you you're wrong. This is one of the poster child for young timers, and this is as good as it gets in America. An R1 with 6,000 miles. This should bring $100,000. Where are you at?
Yeah, I just don't think the RX-7 heads are as in the scene. There's just, look, we've seen like Mark II Volkswagens. The young timers are driving the market. The Supras, of course, of the 90s. Anything that was in Fast and the Furious. Was there an RX-7 in Fast and the Furious? Someone's going to tell me there was.
Oh yeah. There
but
was.
I mean, was it? Well, I'm sure there was one in the movie, but did any lead character drive one? Someone tell me in the herd if that's the case, because I don't think that's the case. But anyways, I just think the RX-7s are maligned. I think that rotary engine, everyone knows that it's just a pain in the butt to deal with. You can go out and you can buy your $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 Mark II, or you could get your Supra and you can go drive it almost no matter what. Whereas these, I don't know, man. I don't know. The seller, I think they should have taken the money, because there's no chance it's getting any more than that anytime soon. Justin, what do you think?
You're good at this. I actually just texted my girlfriend and said I'm really shit at this. No wonder I am not in the car buying or selling business. I did work, host Barrett Jackson for 8 years, which was fun. Anyway, I was just the fluffer there. I'd just tease the car and tell everyone how great it was, but not get involved in the prices. Anyway, I'm surprised, because I thought there might be a bit more of a cult behind this. And it may also be, JP, that the guys and girls that are into these just don't have the wallets for it, right? If it depends where the tide mark is, and if the tide mark at 80 is high, then that's where it is. So I think whoever owns it should be very happy at that. I think they've got a beautiful car.
Yeah, I mean, JP's saying that. JP's saying that the guys who are into the RX-7s are different than the guys that might collect, Toyota, 2000 GTs or Acura NSXs or that type of thing.
Or an Integra R.
Yeah, or even an Integra R. Yeah, that is just
we've seen those
different collector.
Break six figures, because those are just known to be bulletproof, usable, fun cars. These, I don't know. I do think that this is a good investment. I do think one with low miles, we never see them. Most of them are roached out by the time they come to sale or have 1 million miles. So something like this is definitely a good collector car. But I just don't think I don't think the young timers are there just yet for something like this. But I don't know. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. And we did one more car in the last episode, didn't we, Deeb?
Yeah, we did. One last car to circle back to, JP, and that is the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. This is an NRING edition that was a $16,000 option, a cosmetic option, but it also numbered the cars. Our car on Cars and Bids is number 14 out of 55 produced exclusively in this colorway for the U.S. market. Our particular car comes to us on Cars and Bids showing just 2,300 miles on the odometer and is on a clean California title out of Canoga Park. So the big question here, Justin, is, you take a $70,000 Giulia Quadrifoglio and you add all the options plus a $16,000 paint scheme and number badge to ring an MSRP out at 90 grand. Does the car then hold its value at 90 grand or in fact appreciate because they're numbered? Are these cars suddenly six-figure cars? Now, they did something very similar with the last of the 4C Spiders. They did 33 editions that were meant to be, colored after the Alpha 33. Those cars, Justin, are now trading in the secondary market for $150,000 when they were 80 grand brand new. So they tried that same shtick with the Quadrifoglio, and I wondered aloud, could the sedan bring the same money? JP's take on the car is that the sedan as a sports car or a sports alternative is kind of dead. Guys want, either fast, crazy coupes, or they want, ringed out, laid out SUVs. And that the sedan, there's nobody who looks at a sedan and thinks, yeah, that's the car I want to drive, and I want mine to be super fast so I can race a guy in a Porsche. So with all that in mind, we check in with our friends at classic.com. There's no number for the NRING edition. So the number for the Quadrifoglio sedans in general in the secondary market is about $47,000. And again, that's coming off on average a $70,000 MSRP before options. I thought our car would get up to 74 grand, but I did not think it would get to the $90,000 in MSRP, thus sort of putting money in this guy's pocket. JP took the under at just $59,000, and Bailey Smith from Club Wheelhouse joined us as third nerd. His bid just over JP at 61. So the numbers on this car much lower. Nobody thinks that this car is bringing sticker anymore. Justin, what's your bid on the gray sort of special cosmetic edition of the Quadrifoglio?
Well, actually, I love this car. It's funny listening to some of the comments. Badass, shitty car. You're kind of right. My son drives a standard, a stock one. That was his first car. He bought it with the acting money he made. I was surprised when I went looking at cars that this car was so available in the high teens, as a 2019, good car, drives so well. I mean, it's fun. And the 4C is a great example of a car to have bought. Anyway, I just don't think there is enough culture around this car. I don't think Americans get this car. I'm gonna go actually even lower than JP. I'm gonna say 56,000.
Nice. 56, and you are in the hunt. Believe it or not, Justin, that'll be your first win. Our car hammered at $52,000, where it failed to sell on 24 bids. So JP, I'm left wanting on this one because, again, I don't think any of us would agree that $52,000 is all the money for even just a standard 2,300 mile Quadrifoglio that's in, very, very good condition. And I do think there should be a quantifiable value add for it being a numbered edition, even if you disagree with me just because you think that the general public are idiots, which I tend to agree with you as. I think that the formula worked on the 33. Porsche has been wringing that formula's neck for decades now, practically a half century, and just finding more and more idiots to come up with more money because they did a certain number of stickers on the car. But this is a really beautiful car. It has things that you could not have ordered on your car as standard, so they are distinctive. It's a bummer that he didn't find his audience. However, JP, I'll put it back on him and say he's got his trip sticker in the corner window. He took photos at a fenced off place that sells guns at the mini mall. This effort to cars and bids is deplorable, and he reaps what he sowed. And so while I think the car is special, and I've been pounding my desk for this damn car, the seller can go walk off a long pier at Monterey because he's never going to get the money with this half-assed effort. He should have called the bid nerds. Where you at, JP?
Yeah, we may have been able to get him a couple more bucks, but I don't think it really would have made a difference. I don't think that the public is really that dumb in regard to this car. They were smart enough not to buy it. This is look, if you want to go fast with 4 doors, you get a Tesla Plaid. If you want to go fast with 4 doors and have it brake all the time, you get an e-tron or a Taycan or something like that. Still, either way, you're better off than this silly thing. Nobody's ever going to want this car. There are more. You mentioned that Porsche has been, getting people to spend extra money for numbered cars. Well, there's more people in the PCA, just the Porsche Club of America, just that little club of octogenarians, than there are people in America who have ever owned an Alfa. Nobody cares about Alfas. And I love Alfas, right? I mean, I do, but I don't care enough to want to think that one with numbers on it is special. Justin, what do you think of the result?
Well, I tell you, I wish I actually do. I'm on the other side of the fence. I actually, for 52 grand, I'd buy this. I actually, I like it. I like saying to someone, they say, "Hey, what are you? Are you Mr. Predictable, or are you going to buy something that that's not everybody can have?" And yeah, you might own that car for a little longer than you want. I'm actually hosting an event next week at Pebble Beach for Alfa with their new 33. That's the other end of the scale. Alfa are one of the few people that can make a $40,000 SUV and a $2 million supercar, which Valtteri Bottas just built, helped engineer. Yeah. So I love the brand. I just think, I'm with JP in a way. No one gives a crap about Alfa Romeo in America, unfortunately. But if you own this, you look pretty good.
I got a question for you, Justin. Hold on, Deeb. I got a question for you because you said you'd buy this for 52. Well, so did somebody, but nobody said that they'd spend 53. Yeah. Well, that's the real question. Yeah. Would you spend 60 or 65 or 70? Is 53 or 52 the number for this car going forward? Or do you think this guy left money on the table because the ad was frankly lackluster, like my partner said, which I agree with?
Yeah, in a way, you're right, but this is very like my Barrett Jackson moments. I would stand there, and I didn't have a bid as paddle, but Mike Joy, one of the best commentators in the business, he was the main host. He's a big car collector, buys and sells. And I would see a car like this come through late at night, but maybe an Alfa Sud or something, a little, and I'd be like, ooh, it's going for 12 grand. Now I'm the guy that, yes, it's at 12 grand till I start bidding. So you need that second guy in the room, right? And there wasn't one here. So Good take.
Hey, all right, guys. Oh,
Justin,
one more last word.
Justin, that Alfa 33, is that built on that Maserati MC20 platform? Is that essentially the same car under the skin? Yeah, very cool. Good luck with that.
Awesome. I've got a docu. Right. Yeah, it's going to be good.
I am looking at my Hour Smith's watch here. It's time for a commercial break, but before we get to that nice Hour Smith's watch right there, an Aviera that Michael Deeb is wearing, if you want to look just like me, which why would you? That'd be horrible. But check out this guy. I'm wearing a Bid Nerds t-shirt tonight. Check that out. Look at that. We finally have these darn things available on a website. Look at this, you guys. Let's see if I can pull this up. Let's see here. The Air and Water website is now live with all the Bid Nerd swag. If you've been wanting a hat, if you want a shirt, if you want to get some Derfascination posters from the original films that we made on our YouTube channel, those are all now available on the Air and Water Design website. The link is in the description below, and you can also get your guy's custom bracelet. There's a gajillion of them in there to match pretty much any watch you can think of, and cars as well. Plus, there's all kinds of jewelry for the ladies. Check out aaronwaterdesign.com. That's ERINN, not air and. It's aaronwaterdesign.com. But if you can't remember that and don't know how to spell like me, just click on the link below. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, if you want to call it that, for Vegas Auto Fest coming up September 13th. Here it is.
chasing us. They're going to Vegas Auto Fest.
Vegas Auto Fest is September 13th at the Red Rock Country Club. Vegas Auto Fest. The drivers are coming.
All right, guys, make plans to come out to Vegas September 13th. That's just a little over a month away. Biggest and best car show in Las Vegas of the year out of the Red Rock Country Club. And it is now time to register your cars and get your passes at VegasAutoFest.com. Justin, we're going to have to get you to come out for that, huh?
Yeah. Justin, if we can talk you into
sounds
coming
like a
out to
plan.
if we can talk you into coming out to Red Rock, JP will make you the Grand Marshal, which just means all you have to do is hand out drink tickets for free to all the cute girls.
Well, I don't see the problem with that. You know,
either.
Dana, you're right. You mentioned my trophies, Dana. Well, they have no trophies. Well, that one was probably for. It came up on your thing. That one behind me is not for Little League. That's actually for the Le Mans 24 Hours. And then there's a World Championship trophy in the middle. And then that's a kind of cool picture. If I get down behind me, that's my dad winning Le Mans in 1975 with Jackie X and Dr. Porsche on there. And I'm the little kid over there behind with his head sticking up there.
Amazing.
Yeah,
That's
it's just,
so cool.
we just moved house and I just got all my trophies out. So, you know, I needed a bit
Thank
of
you
a
for
ego
sharing.
stroke,
That's awesome.
so.
That's awesome. So for every guy in the nerd herd that's watching this, that's ever looked at a beautiful 962 with Rothman's livery and saw the word Bell written on the roof of that, that's Justin's dad. And next to Jackie X, two of Porsche's great ambassadors and icons, and obviously racking up about as many wins as anybody that's ever raced for the company. Legends. So thank you for sharing that. That's just awesome.
Cool.
All right, guys, if you are watching right now and you are new to the channel, get over, if you're watching this live particularly, get into the chat, introduce yourself to the Nerd Herd and become part of the Nerd Herd. You're going to make great friends. That's really where all the talent in the show is in the Nerd Herd. So say hello in there, and let's get to some predictions. It's the Hour Smith's predictions time. That's what it says on my watch. Let's get to it. What's the first car on the list? Michael Deeb, raring up.
All right, JP, the new regime at P Car Market are not selling as many cars as they used to. They should say they're not listing as many cars as they used to, but they are getting really good caliber of cars. And again, the theme of the last 2 weeks has been all these wonderful cars that have broken cover in what I call the lead up to Car Week. Feast your eyes, JP, on this 2018 Porsche 991.2 Turbo S Coupe that is an exclusive series car showing just 5,000 miles from new. Now, they made this Turbo S exclusive in both a coupe and a cabriolet. What you got was this very distinctive gold colorway. At least that's the car. That was sort of the show car was gold. You could also get it in a black. I think it was a black metallic, and they had it in a white. But the car that, or the paint way that was unique for this car is this gold, this yellow gold color. Golden yellow metallic is the name of the colorway. They all came with a PDK transmission, but power from the 3.8 turbo was popped up. These cars made 607 horsepower, and they only made 500 of the coupes and 500 of the cabriolets for the world. So this coupe is one of 500 with the extra horsepower, all the carbon fiber bits. And then the big option was to plump, I can't remember what they charged, but something like $18,000 to get a set of carbon fiber wheels, which are beautiful to look at, but I'll see if Justin will back me up. You probably don't want to own those with the potholes in LA. Maybe if you lived out in Vegas. JP's got probably the smoothest roads out of the three of us. If you were driving this car around Lake Mead, I think you'd be fine on carbon fiber wheels. But up here in the Bay Area and down in LA, I think those wheels would not be long for this earth. So while they're a great idea on paper and they make your car flash, I don't know if they're the ones that are going to endure if you plan to drive this. Now, a lot of people were trading these cars. This is a 2018. So in 2019, 20, 21, these cars were trading hands at every auction. Everybody had to have an exclusive series as people were speculating on the future value of these things. I don't know if these are bringing 100 grand over or 50 grand over if they have no miles. They'll certainly be lucky to bring sticker if they've got 5,780 miles like our car here does. So JP, you and I were very close with Porsche at the time that they took this same color and did that 993, that continuation 993 that was the Project Gold. This is that same colorway, and this is the car that they sort of made in masse when Porsche was enjoying, a little bit of a renaissance before the world all had to take 2 years off and do nothing. Any love for a turbo with stickers and special wings and carbon fiber and little extra horsepower? Or do you think down the road there's just an eccentrically colored 991.2? Where are you at on the exclusive series? Collectible or eh?
Fans of this show know my attitude towards these specially numbered cars that don't have any real additional features other than whiz-bang stuff. Look, it's ridiculous. This is why we can't have nice things. This is why if you're a pedestrian who just wants to buy a nice, good Porsche 911 to drive with 3 pedals, you don't need the biggest engine. You don't need the GT car. You don't need all that stuff. You just can't have that kind of stuff because Porsche isn't really interested in you. They're interested in making fewer cars and putting special paint and stripes on them and some carbon fiber bits and charging literally 3 times the amount and getting away with it. And it's the Porsche PCA type boomer buyers that are making that possible. This is just conspicuous consumption in a way that I really, really hate this car, and I hate that Porsche made it. The 911, the 991s are great cars. The 991 turbos are fantastic cars. But when they introduced the 991, that became a depreciating car, all of them, except for like the GT cars, of course, right? And it wasn't until we had the craziness that happened a few years ago where people started paying all this extra money for special cars or just about any car that they could get their hands on. Now this particular car is out. 991 turbos, .1s and .2s, we are starting to see steeply affected by the depreciation curve, regular ones. So that's going to drag the value of this down, and it's still going to be worth more because it's numbered and PCA members are complete freaking morons and will pay all kinds of extra money for nothing, for a color. Justin, what do you think of this car? And we'll get, don't worry about the number yet. We'll let you go last on that one. What do you think of the car?
Well, I definitely don't think you're going to be asked to talk at the next PCNA dinner. That's for sure.
They've been
sure.
PCNA. Yeah, it's true. They better not see that I'm an official vendor of theirs. They're gonna be like, oh crap, get rid of that guy.
Yeah. You know what? Obviously, a 911 Turbo S. The experience of driving it is obviously a great one. You're right on the exclusive series. People just love that because history is dictating that all these cars at some point are worth more money than the ones that aren't numbered or whatever. It's just 50 years time. People go, oh, do you know I've got number 8 out of 500. But the carbon wheels, that's just a total waste of time. That I can't see. And by the way, if you get even the smallest crack in that, that's a junk. It's a nice coffee table.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's someone that'll love this color, someone that'll love the way they carried the stripes down through the seats and things like that. I just don't like that automatic, the PDK gearbox on a car, on a turbo. It's, all right, I guess you got to go with it, but you didn't have to go with it in the mid 90s, late 90s. This is going to be a tricky one because is that weirdo in the room? I don't know. Maybe
Okay, Deeb, what's it going to bring? What do we think?
Couple of quick things, too. This car has a carbon fiber roof, and like a Zagato, they did the stripes, and then there's like a double bubble outside of the stripes above the driver and the passenger's heads, and then that theme of there's an impression on the front carbon hood. So they did do more than just stickers, but my partner is still sort of right. I hate giving him credit for that. All right, JP. Lots to unpack with this car. Let's start with the MSRP. This car cost $282,000 when it was brand new. And I'm just guessing here, but that's about 60 grand more than you would have paid for a fully optioned Turbo S Coupe that wasn't an exclusive. I feel like the exclusive was like an extra 50 or 60 grand if my memory serves me correct. And I'm guessing there. But this car's MSRP, $282,000. Classic.com tells us that turbo exclusive coupes are trading for $292,000 on average in the secondary market. Our car is currently bid to $211,500. That comes to us by way of 11 bids, and the car closes tomorrow on P-Car Market. JP, my initial bid on this car was $275,000, and because it's over 210 right now, I'm going to leave it there. I think this car, I don't know if it sells for my number, because on P-Car Market, oftentimes we see that sellers hold on to unrealistic expectations by listing their car post-hammer in the classifieds, the what do they call it, marketplace. So I'm not sure if 275 gets it done, but I think they can get to 275 under the natural hammer. And if you ask me, I think they should take 275, but I wouldn't be surprised if this car winds up in the chum bucket for 300 or more. But 275 is my bid to you, JP. We're at 211 now, and we close tomorrow. What's your number?
Yeah, I mean, if we're on Bring a Trailer, your number is definitely closer to 300, but I think on P-Car Market, everyone's just going to sit on their hands and wait to see what it goes in the chum bucket for. It's at 211 now. I'm going to give it another, I don't know, $15,000. I'll give it 225,991, and say, look, the person that's going to bid on this car or might ultimately buy it is that boomer that refuses to help their grandkids pay off their student loans. They just don't care. They're that person, and that's why I hate this car, and I hate the people that want to own it. Justin, what do you think of this car, and what do you think it's going to? Well, I already asked you what you think of the car. What do you think it's going to bring?
Yeah. Justin, I'm going to tee it up for you one more time. It's sitting at 211. I bid 275. JP's at 225. The average is 292. But on P-Car Market, we consider this car to be listed on the inferior platform. BAT owns 80% of the market. P-Car Market owns a fraction of that. So what's your bid, knowing that the car is on the inferior platform?
I think because of, without JP's character assassination, I think the reality is that when you do a paint scheme like this, a livery like this, you're narrowing down the funnel, right? There's less people that are going to dive into that funnel. I want to split the difference with you two. I'm going to say 255.
Yeah,
good bid.
That's a good bid, and you're absolutely right. That unique color, it funnels down to fewer douchebags. There it is. I've said my piece. I'll stop. There it is.
Wow.
And look, for the record, I've said it over and over again. We love boomers. There's a certain type of boomer that we don't. So there it is. And they're the one that's going to buy this car. Okay, let's move on. What do you guys think this car will bring? We've got lots of bids from the Nerd Herd. We got everywhere from, 275 is probably the highest on down to anyone close to me. Well, we'll see what happens. All right, guys, let's move on to the next car. What do we got?
All right, Justin, what do you think of an E92 M3? Feast your eyes on this 2013 BMW M3 Coupe with a V8 showing 45,800 miles, 6-speed manual transmission. It's been in Washington most of its life, so no snow up there. It's currently on a Washington title, but the car is located in Portland, Oregon. And you're thinking, hey, man, no nonsense, straight up, good car. Looks like there might be some aftermarket wheels. I dig it. But wait, there's more. This car has been treated to a supercharger. So this car, somebody slapped on a Harop supercharger kit, and so now this car is making crazy horsepower. Justin, that's so funny. All right, anyway,
cat or a goat? What did we just miss there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, there she is. All right, look at that. What's the name of the cat or goat?
Well, I'm not even going to open JP up when I say I have a hairless cat in my house.
I love it.
Yeah,
Comments below.
Yeah.
I love it. I'll take
absolutely
hairless cats over
Edo.
that will help their grandkids.
There is definitely a shaved beaver joke in there somewhere, but I wouldn't be the one to say it.
Yeah.
All right. So M3 with 45,000 miles. Car looks really clean. There's a supercharger under the hood, so we know extraordinary performance. The thing that I like to weigh with this, Justin, and welcome to our domestic spat between JP and I think if you want to get top dollar for your car as you go to the secondary market, the car needs to be stock. JP, like myself, believes in modifying your car, but he likes to sell them remaining modified. I'm the idiot that thinks it's usually worth it to go to the expensive detuning your car and bringing it back to stock whenever possible before you go back to market. The supercharger is going to be the rare exception. That's way too involved to take that off. The question is, will the supercharger enhance this car's final number, or will it hurt it, or will it make no impact whatsoever? So JP, a car I think the three of us would love to drive, me in particular, because I've never really spent any real time behind one of these V8 BMW M3 coupes. I think I would absolutely love the noise that it makes and how great they handle. What do you think about a supercharged one, JP? E92 with crazy horsepower.
Yeah, I mean, this car has 3 pedals. That's really what does it. Doesn't matter supercharger or not. Mm-hmm. These things are so much fun. This is the last BMW worth getting. There's nothing they've made after. This is an E92 or an E90. I always get it mixed up, the 2-door versus
E92.
the 4-door. E92. So this is the last generation BMW that could even turn my head. There's nothing on a BMW floor at any BMW dealership that's been made in the last 10 years that I don't know why anybody gives a crap about BMWs. This one, on the other hand, this is a really cool car. The thing about this car is that it's just not going to go for very much money. So it's bang for the buck here. They're really in that sweet spot in the depreciation curve, and it's one of those cars that like collectors aren't. There's enough of them out there that collectors aren't buying them up and driving the price too high. They do have a couple of little Achilles heels. You've got the the rod bearings tend to go wrong on these. There's something else too. I think the throttle actuators or something like that, the Vanos or something, tends to be a little problem. But it's not like an IMS in a 911 of the same era that if it fails, it hand grenades the whole powertrain. These cars can be, if they're maintained well, are very reliable, and just they keep up with a lot of modern power stuff, and you still get that 3 pedals and that supercharger. The BMW kids, the BMW culture, they like forced induction, and superchargers on these, and this powertrain is a blast. I've driven multiple of these with this setup. Justin, what do you think?
First of all, you're both right. I actually think it was funny, just for you started talking about you add like a supercharger and stuff to a car. I think it puts, again, it narrows the funnel down for some people, but credit to the guy selling or girl selling us great photographs. If you want to pick up the counterpoint to the one we saw a few minutes ago, great pictures. Here's the thing for me with this car: anyone that remembers the M3 in its heyday, when you just no electronic aids flying sideways everywhere. I mean, I think that's what this car, and you're right, JP. It's the last one that kind of reminds you of that. I think the guy in the market for this, has just come off all night playing Call of Duty, gets his little hipster backpack on and goes to his programming job at YouTube. I don't know. That's his thing, and they all stand around in a circle and get excited about this car. I for the right person in that little group, this is a beautiful car to own. I could understand why you buy it. If you're not in that group, you will just walk straight past it. Like any car is the same. But I think, I mean, it's got a manual gearbox, which means it's the real deal. I like it, but I agree with you, JP. I just don't think it's going to go for that much money. Yeah.
All right. Well, what do we think it's going to bring, Deeb? What's the first number?
All right, JP. So the first thing we're going to talk about, Classic.com tells us the average selling price of an E92 M3 coupe with a manual is only $33,000. And I just want to qualify that and say a lot of these cars have been driven and have well over 100,000 miles, and that's what brings that number down. When we look at just this car here in beautiful condition with only 45,000 miles, I think that this car alone would bring, $50,000 easy, because these cars are still hot right now. Our car is currently sitting at $35,250 on 11 bids, and it closes tomorrow. So JP, I think this car is going to get up into that range. I think, man, I'm all in on this car. I think that the presentation, the photographs, and the assets that even Justin was like, hey, these pictures are great. And we don't see this presentation very often on Doug DeMiro's Cars and Bids website. And so for that, and then the supercharger for the guy that wants this car, you're like telling me I get more horsepower for free? I'm all in, JP. $55,000 at Hammer. And I think Cars and Bids will be very proud to see this car sell under the natural hammer, which I think is going to happen tomorrow. 55 grand to you, JP. The supercharger helps. It doesn't hurt. Where are you at?
Does it also have coilovers and exhaust? It looked like it may. I mean, that ride height definitely suggests that it's lower. The mods, I don't think are going to hurt this. It would definitely not be cost effective to pull them off and make it stock, and nobody that buys this car is going to care one way or the other. In fact, I think the person that buys this car is going to buy it because they are going to save the money modding it. And they're also buying it because it's just not that much money, right? This car is going to go for less than that Alfa that we talked about before the break. That Alfa, if you look at the numbers on that Alfa, that numbered Alfa, was it 500 something horsepower or whatever? That car is going to just, is a monster compared to this, but who cares? It doesn't have a third pedal, and this car might actually kind of give it a run for its money because of that supercharger. I don't know. It's on Cars and Bids. I do actually think that this is the right platform for this particular car. We don't usually hear me say that. Usually I would say BAT is going to get a bigger audience, but the audience on Cars and Bids traditionally has been an audience that doesn't quite have as much money as some of the other platforms, and I think the Beamer guys are here, but I just don't think it's going to bring big money at all. Where's it at right now already, Deeb? It's at 35?
35,000 and change, yeah.
Yeah, which is basically what a stock one would usually go for with maybe some more miles. So if this thing breaks 40, I'll be surprised. I'm going to give it 39,999 and hand it off to Justin. What do you think?
I think you're wrong on that. I do. It's funny. I hope so. I hope so for them. But I'm so easily swayed. I was gonna go just slightly more. But actually,
well, wait a minute. What specifically do you think I'm wrong about? Because maybe I'm missing something. And again,
No. I think if you could get two tweaky little BMW freaks who are excited about this car, you're not going to find this next month. That's the thing, right? I don't believe this car's going to come up again. If I was in the market for this,
two freaky BMW guys don't have $50,000 between the two of them. No. They're both gonna. The only way they get the 50 grand is that they you drive it, Wednesday through Saturday, and I'll get it the other half of the week.
47,000.
All right. I hope you guys are right.
Good,
I hope
good
it brings
bid.
more money than I say. Actually, and I'm not kidding. My lower bid isn't because I don't think the car isn't a cool car. I just think you start getting that $50,000 range, and the BMW kid is starting to look at 997s and Porsches. But that's just me. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. And what's the next car on the list? You guys are doing great, rocking through this thing.
All right, Justin, I like to throw JP a curve every once in a while. On the last show, JP brought up the Pontiac Fiero that came from the factory with the Mura sort of fake Ferrari 308 package. And I really wasn't that familiar with the car, I had to admit. And then lo and behold, JP calls it from his lips to God's ear. On Bring a Trailer is a 1988 Pontiac Fiero Formula Mura V6 that allegedly came this way from Pontiac, which the Mura was built by Corporate Concepts of Capac, Michigan, over a 2-year production run. This was number 8046 and was sold new in Monrovia, California. The car has 91,000 miles on it and is straddled by a 3-speed automatic. You can feel that torque curter conversion, JP, as it rolls into the next gear. Yeah. But man, that rear 3/4 view that is like the second picture in the listing, man, those taillights and the curve, tell me that didn't come from Pininfarina. From the front, I think you can tell it's not a Ferrari, but man, from the back, I've looked at a lot of these, and that is pretty plagiaristically well executed. What a trip. JP, the only thing that's more shocking that this car even exists is how much money they still bring today. So I flip it over to you because I don't really know anything about these. Did you know that another one would come as soon as you spoke it? Like, it was just last week you mentioned this car, and then I saw one. I was like, I had to throw it in your face. Look at that thing.
So crazy that you find one. And it's funny too, because when I saw you have this listing on our spreadsheet, I thought for sure it was going to be on Cars and Bids, because Doug DeMiro put a video out of one of these just this last week. So I'm like, oh, that's got to be the same car. And so I went to watch the video, and just like, I couldn't get Doug DeMiro. I can't get through 2 minutes of that guy, and God bless him. It's just so hard, but this car is as weird as him, and it is so perfect for him to cover this car. And I'm surprised it's not on Cars and Bids. Why would you put this on BAT? I don't know. With an Auto Tragic, this thing's just doomed. If they had made these with, with the 4-speed or 5-speed that they put in the Fieros, that would have made it at least mildly interesting. But with 2 pedals, what are you going to do? It's just a piece of crap Pontiac. Justin, what do you think of the car?
I'm slightly shocked, actually, by the fact that this aberration of automobile exists.
From the factory.
You only have to look at the frickin' lights. They can't even open the same. They open like I mean, and probably one stays open like a one-eyed drunk parrot. I mean, honestly, I think there must be a moment when you're pulling up to Cars and Coffee that the guy's about to wave you into that area that they always let people go at the front, and then he's like, "Oh hell, no.
Wait a minute,
you can go right round, back to Popeye's Chicken around the corner." I think it's absolutely revolting, and the inside is. I mean, imagine the guy that ordered this. He would have looked like. In Vegas, hey, listen, JP, when you're at Vegas, I saw it last week. There was a couple walking across the stop lights, traffic lights, and he looked like someone that wanted to be an entertainer back in the day with his girlfriend that used to be one of the hostesses at Caesars, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
And their faded glory, but they had all the hair and the teeth and the tits, right? And it was still there. And that's who drove this car. You just never quite made it. I'm sorry, you never quite did it. So actually, I think it's disgraceful, and I'd absolutely drive it somewhere just for shits and giggles.
It would be hilarious to drive off a cliff or something like that, right? It's not the years, it's the miles. Yeah. All right, Deeb, what's this going to bring? We got to move it along. We're getting late in the show.
Can you believe, JP, that the average selling price for an actual Formula Mura is $14,000? But wait, it gets weirder from there. This car, with an accident on the Carfax, almost 100,000 miles on the odometer, and an automatic transmission, is currently bid to $13,650, and it has 3 days left to go until it closes. I am stunned by how well this listing is doing. That being said, I don't think it goes much further. My bid, JP, $15,000. 15000 to you. What's your number?
I'm going to give it $19,999 and hand it on to Justin.
No way. You can't believe you're bidding that much.
I've seen these go for like $25,000. It's stupid, but it's true. It's people. It is a factory car. The kit car, I mean, it's garbage, but yeah. Okay.
17.5. Thank you, Justin.
Right. Good number.
775
All right,
for me.
And just to be clear, it ain't worth $189. All right. If you paid more than that, you overpaid.
No, not at all.
It's such a piece of garbage. Fieros suck. Okay, let's move on to the next car. We have very little time.
Justin, before I introduce the next car, in 1997, you won the GT2 class at Le Mans. What were you driving?
The Dodge Viper. Yeah.
The Viper.
The
okay.
GTSR.
I wondered if I wondered if you were driving the motor that operates this car here. Check out the beautiful. The Oreca Viper, right? That's the French team, right?
Yeah. Yes.
2004 Porsche 911 Turbo Cabriolet with the X50 package. Our car is showing just 37,000 miles from new and has a 6-speed manual transmission. This car is listed by our good friends at Genau Auto Works here in California. This is one of Ingo's listing. We haven't seen or talked to Lingo in a long time. I ran into him at the Easy Show, and we'll get him to host and be third nerd with us very soon if we don't all run into him at Car Week a little bit sooner. But this is a beautiful car shot in his new studio in Novato,
we got to do. I hate to cut you off, but we got to
do
a speed round. What's it going to bring? How many miles and what's it going to bring?
All right, our car is showing just 37,000 miles from new. And JP, according to our friends at Classic.com, The average selling price of a Turbo X50 cab with a manual is $59,000. JP, I think this car in slate gray is going to ring the bell at $65,000 when it hammers in a couple days from now.
Dang it, you took my bid. I'm going to go just a little bit under. I'm going to go 64,996. These are awesome with the X51 package. And don't be a cabriophobe. It's 2025. Justin, what do you think this car is going to bring?
I'm going to go slightly over 68,000.
Good number.
Beautiful
Good number.
bid. Good luck, Ingo. Good luck, Genau. And JP, that's a show. Justin, what an absolute pleasure. What a treat to have you join us as Third Nerd. Justin, can we call you friends now? If we see you in Monterey, can we come up and talk to you? Or are you going to big league us and be like, I don't know these nerds?
As long as you're not in that bloody Fiero, you can come and say whatever.
I was going to buy it for you so we can go both drive it off a cliff together. Oh, man, I'm so disappointed. I'm out. I did not mean to hit those sound effects buttons. I just threw the pen down and it hit the soundboard, so that was kind of fun.
Definitely, guys. Definitely. Now we know each other. This is good.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And I can't wait to watch next week's show. I can't wait to watch the next one so I can see how wrong we were.
Reconciliations.
It's not actually next week's show. It's this Sunday's show. So we're on twice a week, Wednesdays and Sundays. Yeah, so tune in Sunday night. And join the chat, too. Watch it live and join the chat to let everybody know that you're in there. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out. We will see you guys Sunday night. What? Oh, go ahead.
Justin, do you want to pitch anything while you're up here?
Yeah, so Drive to Win, that's my Formula One podcast out of the Win Las Vegas. You can find it on SiriusXM and on YouTube. And next week, watch the Pebble Beach live stream. At pebblebeach.com and Pebble Beach Live. I can't wait to do it with TK. And there won't be a Fiero there.
Deeb and I will be looking at our email waiting for an invite to be on your show at the Win.